Hi and hello there, grade 5 learners. Welcome to another day of learning English. So, today we're going to explore new words, ideas, and stories that will help you become better readers, speakers, and writers. So, English is not about grammar and spelling, it's about expressing your thoughts, sharing your ideas, and discovering the beauty of language. So, get ready to listen, think, and have fun as we learn together. So, welcome to our new episode of our lessons for English 5. So we are now at quarter 3 and we are starting with week 1. So for this week, we're going to discuss determining textual coherence between story elements. And we have here our learning objectives. So note important details of a story using a story grammar. Identify flashbacks in the plot of a story and infer reasons behind specific events or characters, actions, and decisions. Okay, so for day 1, let's have a short review. Okay, so stories can be compared to puzzles with different pieces forming a complete picture. Instruct, okay, you're going to analyze some key elements to improve your understanding of stories better. So let's take a quick look again of what a story grammar is. So think of this as a story's skeleton, a framework that holds all the essential elements. It's like a map that guides us through the story, helping us to identify the characters, setting, problem, solution, and ending. So when we talk about story grammar, ito yung pinaka-skeleton o yung pinaka-pattern ng kwento. Makikita na natin dito yung kung sino yung mga characters, yung sa ating setting, yung plot, yung beginning, yung body ng story which includes yung problem, 'di ba? Yung how ano ba yung mga situation na nandoon sa story, ano ba yung problem na kinaharap nila, how do they resolve the problem, and kung na-resolve ba yung problem in the end. And then, of course, ano ba yung pinaka-idea of the story and yung moral lesson na binibigay sa atin ng story. So, nandun yung nakapaloob sa story grammar. Next, we have flashbacks. Flashbacks are instances within a story where the narrative jumps back in time. They can provide important information about a character's past or explain current events. And last, we have making inferences. Okay, so stories sometimes do not directly convey all the information. Reader must utilize clues and existing knowledge to infer or make educated guesses about the reasons behind events, characters, actions, or feelings. So parang you must learn how to read between the lines. Ano ba yung nangyayari doon sa kwento without telling you exactly what is happening. Kumbaga, based on the yung framework or yung pinakadali ng kwento, ano ba yung nais niyang iparating sa inyo? Ano ba yung message na nais niyang i-convey sa kanyang readers without giving you the exact details? No? Kumbaga naka-hidden siya. You must read between the lines. Or, kumbaga, you can make your, ang sabi nga dito, you can make your educated guesses. Ano kaya sa tingin mo yung mangyayari sa susunod? No? Given the situation doon sa kwento. Okay, so furthermore, so can you think of a story you recently read or watch and try to recall the essential details such as the main character and the setting? So did the story include any flashbacks? So if so, what did you learn from them? And then think of a moment in the story when something happened but the reason must be clarified. So what clues did the story provide to help you understand why it happened? And imagine yourself as a character in the story, acting scared. What details from the story or your understanding of the character could help you understand why you are scared? So before we start our main lesson, so let's recall what we already know about Chinese New Year. So this celebration is one of the most important festivals in Chinese culture. It marks the beginning of a new year on the lunar calendar and is celebrated with colorful traditions such as giving red envelopes, lighting fireworks, family reunions, and dragon dances. So can you share any stories or traditions you know about Chinese New Year? Or maybe you've seen people wearing red clothes, preparing special food like tikoy, or watching parades. So the activities you did earlier, okay, with the help of your teacher, will help you practice identifying important details. So this is an important skill you'll continue to use in your main lesson today. So noticing key information helps us better understand stories, cultures, and traditions like the Chinese New Year. So let's unlock our content vocabulary. So you're going to search, okay, these words, okay, in the dictionary and you're going to find you are asked to find the meaning of these words, and then you're going to write a sample sentences. Okay, so to help you out, okay, we have here. So, Neon Monster, it's a mythical creature in Chinese legend that appears during the New Year to scare people. So, it's a noun, and the sample sentence is the villagers scared away the neon monster by lighting fireworks. Okay, so now I'll just give the meaning, and then you can have the parts of speech and sample sentence. Okay, you can create your own sentence out from this word. So, Chinese New Year, it's a traditional festival marking the start of a new year on the Chinese lunar calendar. Festival, it's a special event or celebration usually held by a community. Tradition, it's a custom belief that has been passed down through generations. Legend, it is a story handed down from the past, often explaining beliefs or natural events. Fireworks, these are explosive devices used for entertainment that create bright lights and sounds. Lunar calendar, a calendar based on the cycles of the moon. Zodiac, a cycle of 12 animals representing years in Chinese astrology. Renewal, the process of starting again or becoming new. And prosperity, it's a state of being successful or wealthy. So for day 2, let's go. We're going to focus on elements of a short story which focus on plot elements. So when reading a story, it's important to pay attention to specific details that will help you understand the plot, characters, setting, and the overall message. Noting important details help you comprehend and remember the story better. Remember, when noting important details, you must have your pencil or pen with you, your notebook, and highlighters if available. So kapag available yung book, especially if you have your textbook, okay, you can always have your markers, you can have your pen or pencil. But kung wala naman, and then you're just going to listen, and perhaps the teacher will able to give you a copy, so you can note that on your notebook. Why? Kapag tayo ay nagbabasa ng isang kwento or ng isang informational text or narrative text, mahalaga na ating bigyang tuon, no, yung mga specific details, yung mga mahalagang detalye na nakakatulong sa atin para higit nating maunawaan yung daloy ng kwento, yung pag-uugali at kilos ng mga tauhan sa kwento, yung tagpuan, no, yung setting ng kwento, paano ba nakaapekto yung tagpuan o yung lugar ng pangyayari sa ugali at kilos ng mga tauhan, at paano rin ito nakakaapekto sa daloy ng kwento. At ano ba yung pangkalahatang ibinibigay sa atin na mensahe ng isang kwento. So sa pamamagitan ng pagkuha ng mahalagang detalye ay naiintindihan at nauunawaan natin ng mas malalim yung isang kwento na ating binabasa. So katulad ng binanggit natin kanina, mahalaga na tayo ay may pencil or meron tayong lapis o ballpen at meron tayong notepad para doon natin itala, no, yung mga mahalagang detalye. Lalo na kung pagkatapos ng pagbasa ay pagagawain kayo ng story grammar ng inyong guro. So mas madali na para sa inyo na ilagay sa tamang lagayan yung mga detalye na nakuha ninyo. So sino-sino ba yung mga characters? Saan ba yung setting ng kwento? Ano ba yung plot ng story? How did the story begin? What are the details, no, of yung pinaka-body, paano ba yung daloy ng kwento? How did the story started? What are the problems that the characters faced in the story? Okay, how did they solve the problem, and how did the story ended? And then what is the message of the story itself? Okay, so now we have here the key elements to focus on. First is the characters. So who are the main characters? So identify the protagonist, which is the main character, and the antagonist, or the character who opposes the protagonist. What are their traits? Look for the descriptions of their appearance, actions, thoughts, and feelings. How do they change? Notice any changes in the character's attitudes or behaviors throughout the story. So sino-sino ba yung mga tauhan sa kwento? At sino ba yung bida? Sino yung kontrabida? Ano ba yung mga characteristics nila o yung kanilang katangian? Ano ba yung mga kinikilos nila? Ano ba yung kanilang mga nararamdaman? At nagbago ba sila sa flow ng story? Mula sa pagiging mabait, naging mabait din ba sila hanggang dulo? Or dahil dun sa mga kinaharap nilang mga problema sa kwento ay nagbago yung kanilang pananaw sa kwento? Next is the setting. Where does the story take place? Pay attention to descriptions of the location and environment. Okay, and when does the story take place? So saan ba naganap yung kwento? At paano ba nilarawan yung lugar? At kailan ito nangyari? May mga halimbawa, anong panahon ba nangyari ito? Halimbawa, panahon ba to ng tag-ulan, taglamig, panahon ba to ng Amerikano, panahon ng Kastila, or in terms of yung English stories, so saang bansa ba siya naganap? Ano bang period? Is it 17th century, 16th century, 18th century, 20th century, and so on and so forth. So that will going to affect the characters in the story. Of course, we have the plot. What is the main problem or conflict? Usually, ito yung pinakamahalagang bagay kasi kung walang conflict sa isang kwento, hindi magiging interesting ang isang kwento. Hindi ba? Hindi ma-highlight yung bida kung walang kontrabida. And the same time, yung kakaharapin nilang problema. Anong klaseng problema ba to na kanilang kailangang lutasin ng ating bida sa kwento? What are the key events? Summarize the main events in the order they happen. Look for the beginning, middle, and the end. And how is the conflict resolved? Notice how the problem is solved by the end of the story. So usually, as we always say, no, yung story is, ito yung salamin ng buhay natin sa kasalukuyan, or ito yung sinasalamin nito, yung everyday lives natin. Gumagawa lang sila ng mga fictional characters para hindi naman syempre bunyag talaga, no? Pero most likely, yung mga stories natin ay taken, no, from the experiences of typical persons in the society. And then, i-incorporate lang nila, lalagyan lang nila ng ibang mga palabok. Pero kumbaga, malaking bagay din that we learn how to read stories and understand them kasi hindi natin malaman, in the future, we might experience the same thing. And then, meron na tayong knowledge what do we need to do, no, in our own context based on the story that we have read before. Okay? So, kaya that's why it's very important din na to keep ourselves reading and reading. Okay? Para naman mas marami tayong kaalaman na malaman, and at the same time, marami tayong mga maging hindi naman siya information, ano, kumbaga yung mga pwedeng mga possible answers sa different problems that we might face in the long run. Okay, and of course, we also have the theme. What is the story's message or lesson? Think about what the author wants you to learn or understand from the story. So, kasama na rin dito is yung understanding the author. Minsan may mga author tayo na, or madalas, may mga author, may mga favorite themes sila. No, for example, Amado V. Hernandez. Usually, yung mga themes ng stories niya is regarding mga manggagawang Pilipino. Okay, and how they were, kumbaga paano nila pinaglalaban yung rights ng mga manggagawa. Typically, yung mga kwento niya, yung mga tula niya is all about fighting the corruption, okay, and yung pagmamalaki, no, sa kalakasan ng mga manggagawang Pilipino. And paano ba lumaban against the abusive, no, politicians or kung sino man yung mga nananapak sa karapatan ng mga manggagawang Pilipino. So mahalaga rin na we need to understand yung viewpoint ng author para mas maunawaan natin yung tema na nais nilang, tema ng kanilang kwento and yung message na nais nilang i-convey sa atin. There are also authors na for example, Ma'am Ruth Mabanglo, di ba? Who focuses on women's rights, laging pinaglalaban yung karapatan ng mga kababaihan. So, something like that. And there are also authors who focuses on children's literature, mga kwentong pambata naman. Okay, so, active reading. We have here the strategies for noting important details. Number 1 is active reading. Ask questions. While reading, ask yourself questions about the characters, setting, plot, and theme. Make predictions. Try to predict what might happen next based on the details you've read. Annotating, highlight or underline, and write notes. So, jot down brief descriptions or brief notes in the margins or on sticky notes. So, ask questions. Magtanong ka, no? Sino-sino ba yung tauhan? Ano ba yung mga bagay na nakaapekto sa kanya para maging ganun yung attitude niya towards the flow of the story? Saan ba nangyari? Ano ba yung simula, yung gitna at wakas? Ano ba yung tema? And then make predictions. Try to predict ano kaya yung possible na mangyari kapag ito yung mga based on sa mga details na binigay nila. Or what if ito yung circumstance naman na hinarap nila? How would they face the problem? And then annotating, highlighting, or underlining the important part in the sentences or yung mga phrases or yung mga pwedeng yung mga dialogues nung tauhan sa kwento. And then jot down brief notes in the margins or on sticky notes. Another thing is making graphic organizers such as story maps. Okay, so use a story map to organize information about characters, setting, problem, events, and resolution. Character traits. Create the charts to track details about each character. Summarizing. Write summaries. After reading a selection or a section, write a brief summary of what happened and retell the story. Practice retelling the story in your own words. Okay, so for day 3, we are going to discuss more about the concept of flashbacking in our story. Okay, so the concept of flashbacking in a story. So what is a flashback? A flashback is a literary device where the author interrupts the chronological order of a story to present events that happened in the past. So purpose of flashbacks: provide a background information about characters or events, explain character motivations or actions, and create suspense or add depth to the story. Okay, so we have the concept again of flashbacking and so identifying how do we identify flashback. So look for keywords like remembered, thought back to, or flashback to. Then pay attention to changes in the time markers. Okay, then, before, or years ago. So how do we analyze flashbacks? So determine why the author included a flashback. Consider how the flashback contributes to character development or plot progression, and think about the emotions or themes explored in the flashback scene. So we have here our types of flashbacks. We have character flashbacks, focus on characters' past experiences, thoughts, or emotions. Event flashbacks revisit a significant event that occurred before the current timeline of the story. Historical flashbacks provide historical context or background information relevant to the story. Our dream or vision flashbacks show events or thoughts imagined by a character. So let's have our work example. We have here the story or video about The Neon Monster by Andrea Wong, presented by Alina Chow. So you can watch this on YouTube, okay? So you can search, okay? But then, of course, I'll just give you an overview of what this story is all about. The story The Neon Monster by Andrea Wong, okay, read aloud in the video, tells about the legendary Neon Monster who returns at Chinese New Year intending to devour Shanghai, starting with a girl named Xingling. The monster's old weaknesses, loud sounds, fire, and the color red, no longer frighten him. However, Xingling finds clever ways to protect the city by offering special foods to the monster. Long life noodles for longevity, a boniest fish for good fortune, and sticky rice cake that ultimately traps Neon's jaws. Finally, they celebrate with fireworks to send out the old year and welcome the new year. The monster, while angered, promises to return next year, but the city's tradition proved powerful, keeping it at bay. The story highlights themes of cleverness, tradition, and community celebrated during the Lunar New Year. Okay, so we have here the analysis, which we're going to discuss in the next few slides. So we have also here, okay, this is the continuation of the analysis. Okay, so now let's start to discuss the story. So for the setting and characters, so the story takes place in modern Shanghai, China, during the days leading up to the Lunar New Year celebration. The main character is Xingling, a clever young girl who faces the Neon Monster to save her city. The Neon Monster is described as a terrifying beast with horned scales, wide jaws, sharp teeth, and terrible hunger. Its intimidating appearance and strength make it especially scary. For the plot and events, the Neon Monster emerges every year, okay, because it is hungry and seeks to devour the whole villages during the Lunar New Year. If not stopped, the Neon Monster threatens to devour the city of Shanghai and its people, starting with Xingling. Xingling tries to stop Neon with clever tricks. She offers it special foods like long life noodles, boniest fish, and sticky rice cakes. So this delay and eventually hindered the monster, buying time for more defense. Okay, so for the problem and solution, Xingling faces the challenge that the old tricks, red decorations, loud sounds, fire no longer frighten the Neon Monster. making traditional defenses ineffective. So her clever ideas include giving Neon the longest noodle so it's too full to eat more, feeding a milkfish with lots of bones to make the monster's throat sore, using ultra sticky rice cakes to glue Neon's jaws shut, and finally setting up spectacular fireworks to blast Neon away. Okay, so for the themes and messages, the main message is that bravery, quick thinking, and tradition can help overcome threats, even as dangers evolve. Xingling's bravery in confronting Nian and her cleverness in inventing new solutions play crucial roles in saving the city and celebrating cultural heritage. Okay, so for day four, oh sorry, another one. So these are the details and understanding. So traditional Chinese New Year elements mentioned include red banners, lanterns, gongs, drums, long life noodles, fish for good fortune, sticky rice cakes, and fireworks. These traditions are inspired by the legend's old remedies for scaring Nian. Red color for protection, loud sounds for fear, spicy or special foods, and fire or fireworks to drive it away. Flashback scenes include Popo recounting the history of Nian and how the villagers originally used red, fire, and loud noises to defend themselves, integrating these traditions into their yearly celebrations. Okay, so day four is all about the activity. So you have your learners takeaways. So you're going to fill out the a 3-to-1 strategy graphic organizer. The three things that you learned today, two questions that you would like to ask, and what are the things that you understand in the lesson. So for your formative assessment, we have a 15 item multiple choice quiz. Okay, it's true or false. Okay, and that's it for our lesson for today in English. So thank you for listening, and I hope you learned a lot for today. How do we note important details? Okay, especially the plot, how to identify and analyze the characters, the settings, the plot, okay, and how do we use flashbacks. So thank you for listening, and see you again next week. This is Teacher Isa. Thank you, and bye bye.